Will they still be here? Would the office still be here? Or would it be another?
I have absolutely no idea because I have yet to sit down with those people, enter into any type of discussions with that people. This is just an idea that's been out there kicking around. I have no idea.
I mean,
we were not going to go in any direction until we heard from John and his group. Absolutely no direction. That's why they're here. There's no reason for them to go through all those hours and all this aggravation for us to ignore. We're going to listen to the recommendations and take everything into consideration. Like I said, their time is too valuable for me to, or anybody else to waste.
This doesn't have anything to do with them. This has to do with what the state offered.
Well, the state offers a lot of stuff, but that's beside the point.
The hiring of a contract service, you're saying, you know, that you don't think it could be done in 2 years. Do you think that a contract service could do that in 2 years?
We have been told that 2 years is the time frame.
I just think
for a contractor.
Right. Not using ours, obviously not using our facilities.
No.
And you're going to have to deal with people that they won't let you in the house for anything.
Sure.
You know, probably about half of them won't.
Yeah, I agree.
And what we've heard is that the contractor participates in the communications, in the explanations, and participates in the feedback process. Education up front, coordination with the taxpayers on the back end about what actually has been recorded, so that contractor helps with a lot of that would be solely on the head of the assessor or the people in the assessor's office, which, you know, helps out in your evaluation of could we really get this done in 2 years. Contractor does help with that.
I would hope that Mr. Winters and your committee and legal will sit together when you draw up any kind of proposal for a contract service. So we have everything listed from A to Z, what we expect of these people in their process out there.
We will also get a large amount of assistance from the state ORP's office and the county in that. They have been through this many times, and they have a lot of the communications work and everything laid out.
Well, I would just want this vendor locked into specifics that we would expect from him when he comes in here.
Absolutely, but the groundwork is pretty much laid out by the state, and then we can incorporate anything that's unique to the town.
And they will have full knowledge of what is legal in regards to what do we ask them to do. Like, for instance, we can't ask them to phase it in for, you know, certain age property owners. They have full knowledge of what the law is and how it should be done.
And you're also doing this at a time when the economy, nobody knows how deep the economy is going to sink. You know, it's another thing. That's true.
My taxes are going to go down.
All right, everything's fine.
I don't have to go on this, but I'd like to give the committee members an opportunity to say anything that they have. Did I miss anything or a point they would like to make? Anybody?
John, just maybe one item. Everybody gets to talk on one of these. I am Greg Tupper. We spent an excessive, excessive is probably not a good word. A lot of our personal time working on this. We learned to read a lot. The real basic part of this is that the town's been unfairly assessed for a long time due to many reasons outside of everyone's control that's here today. And what we need to do is make a big step to correct it so everyone's taxes can be fair going into the future. And the way to do that is through the process that John outlined. There was just one thing that I wanted to add was that we had recommended in part of this, and it probably was in the slides, and John was just doing overviews, but I had thought, and the committee had thought, that if we provided to people also, when they got this new assessment value, what change that was going to make in their taxes. Because that's the number that they really understand. So if you get that your taxes are going to change by whatever percentage that is, your assessment change number isn't as important to you. It may be if you're going to sell your home in a year, but most of the residents are probably going to stay here. Most of us are lifers and Newarton and Cicero, and we're probably going to stay that way. So we want to make that as easy to understand to everybody as we can. And so that was one of the things that was in the batch of recommendations and the details that we talked about. Thanks. Next.
Mark? Mark, you?
My name's Mark Polchak, and Greg already covered that. It's like if someone gets something in the mail and says, your old assessment was $5,000, and your taxes are going to be $1,500 or $1,600, and your new value was going to be $110,000, and your taxes are going to be the same. Right? Put the numbers right on there. So they say, well, geez, my tax is the same as it was before, and they know it, and they don't want to have to come down and argue about it. It's the same. Now, some people, obviously, that's going to change because some properties are undervalued, some might be overvalued. But for most of the people, let's hope that it's going to be about the same. We want two property owners in the town living in opposite corners of the town, and one happens to know the other and says, well, geez, your house is almost just like mine. And then when you look at your paperwork and you say, oh, we're paying the same, so it's got to be okay. Instead of saying, well, why is your house almost like mine, or practically like mine, and I'm paying a big difference, like maybe 1.5 times as much. Thank you. Next.
Aren't we saying that if you want to learn, file a grievance? So you can find out what's going on, so you file a grievance, or you're going in front of all the committees?
Say that again, sir.
If you want to learn anything about your assessment, you file a grievance. Now you're going to sit in front of all these people, and you're going to find out what you're at.
Well, the purpose of the informal 3-month period is to avoid grievances. Okay? That's where you can come in just informally, one-on-one with the assessor, and say, it's really a very straightforward process. They say you have so many square feet, you have so many rooms, and it's either a yes or a no. And then it comes down to perception of value. And the real perception is based on market value. So the question that property owners have to ask themselves is, would I sell my home for that number? And if it's around that, then it's probably a pretty fair number.
Because I live on a lake shore, on the lake front, and I'm kind of concerned as what's going to happen to me in the future.
Yep. Well, just keep in mind, it's based on market value. So if you're assessed at $100,000 and you go to sell it for $300,000, that would be unfair.
Not for me.
To everyone else.
I'll take it.
And that's what we want to avoid. We also want to avoid the other way. Okay? The person that's assessed at $100,000 is worth $50,000.
I don't like that.
Not on Lake Shore.
My house is up for sale immediately.
My name's Melinda McElroy. I was on the committee also, and I just wanted to clarify. Mr. Coral, your example of a property that, say, wasn't revalued in decades.
30 years.
So we have many properties here that are undervalued, that if you look at the assessed value or you look at the equation this gentleman raised and bringing it to market value, it's the same question. And when you asked your question, you said, so there's going to be a jump up in the market value if we go to full assessment.